Hello, everyone, and welcome to another thrilling edition of Books and Banter. I'm your host, Eric Lucius, coming to you from the Medina Library, back in the stacks again today. A little bit different format episode. Mary Olson, our expert of experts, has been putting a ideal bookshelf up on our library Facebook page. So I kind of stole that idea to plug it a little bit. Go ahead and you can still submit those. We're winding down that program, but please submit those to our Facebook page. But this is what we're trying to do. This isn't my ideal bookshelf. This is my bookshelf of things that I have right now checked out from the library that I'm interested in reading. As you can see, I have quite a bit. I'm not going to get to all this stuff. It just doesn't happen. I kind of pick through it a little bit, find books that really interest me to talk about and to read. So I'm going to share a couple of them. I've only read one of them, or even started reading one of them, but I just want to share some of the ones that I found interesting that you can pick up at the library. So let's get into it. I'm going to save that one for a second here. We're going to start with Telling the Bees, Peggy Hesketh. This one just came out pretty recently, and I actually had to talk to Mary about this one for read-alikes and whatnot. Basically, we have an elderly bachelor. He's kind of lived alone for many years. I think he's around 80, something to that nature. And all of a sudden, his neighbor, it was an estranged friend, is murdered along with their neighbor's sister, and he starts poking around into trying to kind of solve what's going on. Heavy into beekeeping. I was reading that Hesketh is deathly allergic to bees, but yet she did this heavy-duty research to really get into the bee culture and beekeeping and all that good stuff. So anyway, the protagonist, he kind of gets into it. He starts poking around. He's trying to make sense of the murder, trying to figure out what happened in the shared past that he and his neighbor had. It's kind of a story of loss and regret, and pining for what could have been. It's very Americana, very folksy, all kinds of good stuff like that. My pairing for this is kind of cheesy, I admit. It's mead. If you haven't had honey mead, they actually make it right here in Medina County, Gilbert Winery in Valley City. It's basically honey wine. It's something they've been making since like the 1200s. But it hasn't caught on nationally. I've actually seen a lot of beer drinkers getting into mead. Not so much the wine folks, more the beer drinkers. Kind of interesting. So anyway, that's book number one. Book number two, we go with Thomas Perry, The Boyfriend. Thomas Perry, big name author. I believe this is his 22nd book. This is one of those over-the-top, high-octane thriller, white knuckler, all that type of stuff. I read the first couple of pages in this, and I already got that feeling. It's based around, there's a string of murders of these high-end call girls. Our protagonist is called in because the cops aren't doing anything about it, and he gets involved with the rich and famous and all this stuff that are involved in this kind of underground society. It ends up to be kind of the classic cat and mouse game between the hero and the villain. I would get this into the hands of Harlan Coben fans, Nelson DeMille, maybe a lead child. It seems, again, Over the Top is the thing that just really popped out at me. I would pair this with Over the Top. I don't know how many times I've said that already, but like an Over the Top Zinfandel, like one from California, that's just jammy, or an Australian Shiraz. It's just full-blown, kind of high alcohol and just like in your face. Because Perry is known for his characterization, I might go with a Zinfandel, maybe from like a Sierra Foothills or from El Dorado, something a little more character. But I think this is going to be one of those that heart pounding, you're just going to pound through. So that's the book. Next up, we have The Dinner by Herman. I'm going to say Koch, perhaps. He's German. We're going to go with that. This is one actually in our Lucky Break shelf right now, and so is Thomas Perry. Thomas Perry's book is also in Lucky Breaks. Refer to the previous episode if you don't know what I'm talking about. So The Dinner, we got lots of unpleasant characters, and it's kind of a very small setting. It's two couples that get together at dinner. A brother and two brothers are involved. Long story short is what I get from the reviews is that their sons have committed some horrible crime. They don't really say what. I wouldn't give that away anyway. It's kind of a spoiler. But the two couples get together over dinner to discuss what they're going to do. This book's about secrets. It's about what parents will do for kids, what extremes they'll go to protect their children and their identity and their standing in life and whatnot, all that good stuff. I would pair this with a Treasure Hunter. Treasure Hunter is a really fun wine brand. They make Merlot, Cabernet, Chardonnay. The real thrill about Treasure Hunter, though, is the myth, if you will, behind this, is that they buy their wines from super high priced, high value, high dollar, high quality Napa Valley wineries, and they buy kind of the extra juice, and then they produce a wine. So their whole selling point is that you can buy one bottle of Cabernet for $25 when it could be from a winery that sells it for $160 to $200. I've had wonderful wines from them. I'm actually going to a tasting on the main night I'm very excited about. But because of you know the mystery and whatnot, kind of pair this with a treasure hunter. You can pick that up at most of your better wine shops. Okay, moving right along. We have Stephen Dobbins, The Burn Palace, actually on my shelf right now, or it was about an hour ago. Got a little paranormal element to it. I think the whole story begins where a child goes missing from a hospital and there's a snake in its place. These wolves start showing up around. There's kids talking backwards and all this kind of weird stuff. It's got that paranormal element. It has a huge blurb, as you see on the back here, from Stephen King. So I would think, again, just for the little I know about this, I would get this into the hands of Stephen King fans. Even John Connolly, because of that kind of supernatural element going on. Even like a Peter Straub, something like that. So you got, and all this takes place in a very small town, so it's kind of a dissection of small town life and how people react when there's violent and weird circumstances come into a very rural. And I grew up in a rural town, so I know exactly what he's describing. What happens when your peaceful little tiny life is interrupted. Lots of characters in this book, a big cast. Reviews kind of go up and down about how he handles the characters, so buyer beware on that one. I would pair this because it's kind of it's one of those stories of something weird taking place in a very calm area. I kind of thought of varieties of wines that are growing in areas that aren't known for them. Thought of Ohio Sauvignon Blanc. Ohio actually does produce Sauvignon Blanc. You usually find it in New Zealand. You'll find it in Australia, obviously out in California. But St. Joseph's Winery up by Madison makes a very nice Sauvignon Blanc. You taste it, and you might not know it's Sauvignon Blanc at the very beginning, but you know there's something good about it. They do a wonderful job there. So it's just a twist on kind of a classic grape. Hey, Ryan. Awesome. All right, last book, one that I've actually started reading. This is an advanced copy. I don't think it's probably in the catalog, but I don't think you can get a hold of this yet. This is Ace Atkins' The Broken Places, and I don't know what happened. I don't know. Do I have to give this back to you, Mary? Because I beat up this book. I got like blackberry juice on it. I wrinkled the cover. It's taking a little bit of a beating. Good. All right. So this is my own personal copy now. Ace Atkins, former football player. I learned he was on Sports Illustrated back in his college days. He was a defensive end for Florida. Who knew? Also won a Pulitzer for some journalism. Really like this book. Nice big, nice little endorsement from Michael Connelly. I think Connelly's right on. If you like Michael Connelly, I think you would like this book. Very well written characters. What I really like, and with Connelly too, is that you can identify with the characters. All the people in here, they're not perfect. They're not superheroes. They're not guys that bench press 500 pounds and run a 3-second 40. They're not over the top like Lee Child. I know I've bashed Lee Child for this before, but I don't like that characterization. I need to have something I can relate to, and that's what he does with his characters. At the heart of it, we have two guys escape from prison. They head to a small town, another small town setting, to kind of meet up with a third used to be a fellow prisoner that was got out of jail early. He's supposed to have some money for them. So they're trying to get a hold of him. Now, meanwhile, this fellow that's been out of jail, he has tried to convert himself. Now, that's what I really like. We don't know if he's truly converted himself. He's made himself to be a preacher, but we don't know if he's really turned the corner. He's really a good guy or a bad guy. So the preacher then is dating the sister of Quinn Coulson, this is a Quinn Coulson novel. It's a Quinn Coulson series. I believe it's the second or third one. Quinn is the local sheriff. So you have all these kind of characters, how they tie together, and how this relationship is working. So very cool book. About halfway through. I'm really looking forward to how this one ends. Definitely get on the waiting list for this one. It'll be coming out soon. It will be wonderful. So, pair this with a 2010 Bordeaux. Just got to report the 2010 Bordeaux are supposed to be spectacular. You can get just a regular Bordeaux Superior, for about $12, $14. Look for 2010. Vintages do kind of matter with Bordeaux, but 2010 is supposed to be exceptional. Earthy, fruity, a little bit of everything, a little gritty, which I kind of felt with this book. So, that's it. Check these books out. Check out our Lucky Break books. Email me. Go on Facebook, find me, talk to me in the library, do whatever you'd like to. I want to hear from you. So that's it, and I will see you in the stacks.